This is the W-2 stuck in a fixed income. I have to pay for my home. I don't have any other knowledge to go make more money. I don't know what to do with my money, so I buy a house and I lock in, and I'm scared shitless of the majority of my life to do anything. And it's my final home and I'm emotional about it, okay? That's fine. That's an old school way of thinking. And if that's where you're at, I'm not hacking on you. I'm just trying to shed light on the opposite. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Austin Hancock, and I'm gonna move through this pretty quick today. So stay tuned and try to keep up with me. We're gonna talk about owning a home versus renting your home. We're talking about your primary residence right now, where you live. Should I own or should I rent? And I've been on both sides of this, okay? I'm currently renting the house that I'm in. I just moved to Southern California. I sold one of the custom homes that I personally had built in 2021. And I've sold many of my own homes in the past. So we're gonna dive into whether you should rent a house or you should buy a house. Should I own a house? Well, technically you don't ever own it unless you're paying cash for it. Then you still gotta pay taxes. Then you still gotta pay insurance. Then you still gotta pay maintenance. So let's just start right there. If I'm buying it, and let's say we're not using cash, because most people that are watching this video are not gonna pay cash for a property, especially their primary. They're gonna use debt, they're gonna use leverage. And so you still have insurance, you have taxes, you have maintenance, and then you have debt, okay? That's okay, we got debt. We have a loan, we got the maintenance, we got the taxes, we got the insurance. Yeah, we own it, that's cool. Now what? People feel good about owning the home, right? They're like, I got a loan, and they tell people they own it. That's the best thing about it, is they're like, I own this house. And I've had people troll me, they're like, oh, you rent that house. I'm like, I do now, but I didn't before. So I've been on both sides of it, but let me walk you through why on this scenario. So the beauty of owning your own property is kind of the feeling, the American dream. I own my own house. Let me explain something to you though. As a real estate investor myself, I don't think it's the best idea that you own your primary residence. And for me right now in my season of life, it's not the best idea. It's very freeing for me to rent something, and I'll explain in a minute over here on the pros of renting. Well, let's talk about pros and cons right here, just in general. Hey, what's up guys? Austin Hancock here. I get a lot of messages asking for some help in some capacity, whether it's financial, fitness, mindset, something to make your life better, something to make it to where you can go from this point right here, where you are now, to the dream life that you've always wanted to be living. Shoot me a text or give me a call, 405-697-4072. The number's right here, 405-697-4072. Call or text the number and let's change your life. Pro, con of buying. That's the first thing most people are gonna say. I own it, my payments go to something that pays the debt down versus gives somebody else my money. I was reading your thoughts, okay? Appreciation, payment pay down. I'm gonna do double P, payment pay down. We have the ownership feeling. We have the feeling. Let's just be honest, it's a feeling. Or no, it's not a feeling. Bullshit. I have grandparents that have passed away and they have a property and it goes to somebody else. It's a feeling. Nobody ever owns anything. Remember that, okay? What are some cons? Well, we could say everything right here is a con. Taxes, insurance, maintenance, right? All of these things. This could be a con. What if the economy goes down? That's another con. Let's say economy, right? Well, if you're staying in there, it's okay. It's fine. But if you strapped yourself with a payment that you're up to your neck in, it's not gonna be so fine, especially if you lose your job. Some of y'all are old enough to remember 2008. And you guys could go through a cycle of real estate crashing. People have their property, but if you have these payments, what are you gonna do? If you have a rental property, boom, I'm out of the lease. I bust my lease, let them have the deposit, now I'm in a smaller place. Boom, back ready to fight. So remember that, right? This is the opposite of appreciation, right? This is when the property value goes down. This is the property value goes up. When the property value goes down, you're trapped and you lose your job like a lot of people did in California. They're like, what do I do, right? This is the con of buying a property. A lot of people say another pro is a low percent down. So low, I can feel like I own it. It goes back to the feeling. I really think a lot of the ownership is a feeling, because most people in 2024, which is what it is right now, don't actually ever own their property outright cash. Now let's just play that scenario out. Maybe you own it outright. Let's say you own cash. Austin, I'm gonna own it cash. I'm gonna build a financial fortress around my family. And here's my little house again. And I own this thing cash. That's cool. If you make that kind of money and you want to park the money into an asset that maybe appreciates a little bit, depending on where you're at, right? Parking cash in an asset out here in California, Southern California, would be better than parking your cash into a house in Oklahoma most of the time because of the appreciation rate, okay? So you're gonna gain more value over a shorter period of time out here in a destination place like Southern California than you are in the Midwest or South. So parking that cash is what I would call, as a business owner, as a real estate investor, dead money. Money's just coming out of your nose is just blowing out of your nose and you're making a ton of money and you're like, dude, I gotta park it somewhere, screw my payment. This is a good way to set myself up for success. I'm in a business that I don't know if it'll be around for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Boom, park the money in the cash account right here. Or you could go pay off real estate as your rentals, but that's not what this video is about. So that's your primary. That would be the only way, in my opinion, that it made sense to pay off your primary residence. Because regardless, if you eliminated the debt part, you still have property taxes, you still have insurance, and you still have maintenance on the property. So you don't ever truly own the property. The state can still take back your property if you do not pay the taxes. Go and try it. Take this, don't pay this one right here, and ask me who owns your property. Who owns your house? It ain't you. It ain't you, okay? So now the reason I've bought in the past and the reason I shouldn't say I bought, the reason I've had property and I've owned property in my name and has been an owner and had a mortgage is because I built my houses. My very first one I didn't. My very first property I did. That was actually in 2010, so post 2008. And George W. Bush Jr. was giving out $8,000 for first-time home buyers to try to regenerate the economy. And so that's how old I am, I guess. So I built my houses, okay? Ground up. Well, what was I doing when I built it? Well, I built it at cost. I'm gonna put a dollar sign right there. Built it at cost. So if let's, for an example over here, if I built the house for $500,000 and the day I finished it, it was worth $1 million. This is all for round numbers. 1 million. I created 500,000 in equity. That is how I was able to move quicker and scale fast, was because of that. But here's the deal. This is something I want you guys to take note in. One, was it beneficial to me at the time? Yes, it was beneficial to me at the time. Has it made me money? Yes. Even at times has saved me from losing my ass in certain situations of being able to sell my property and make money. But let me tell you the downfall that has never been taken into consideration. And that is this. This is typically, even because I was fast, I was good, I knew what I wanted, I built my own property. 9 to 12 month time. In this specific scenario, most people can't make $500K in 9 to 12 months, right? Let's lay out another scenario. If I would have built the property for $500K and it was only worth $600K, $600,000 at the time of completion, could I have made $100,000 in 9 to 12 months? Yeah, I could, with real estate investing, with flipping, with doing things, right? But I was able to go get a loan at this point and have 0% down, have equity, and own a property. And that makes sense for me because I was a builder. You could be a flipper, you could rehab a property, you could do the same thing. And I show you guys that. Click the link below in my bio. This is a different scenario than most of you guys. This is what most of you guys are gonna do. Most people, the house is on the market for the $600K, you're gonna put 20% down and then you're gonna owe the bank the remainder. This is dead cash. That's the problem. That's the problem right there, is you're having to do this just for a feeling, just for emotion, okay? If you guys are gonna stay there, I'll give you one more caveat. If you're gonna stay there and you're gonna stay in this property for anywhere from 3 to 5 years, typically 3 to 5 years is gonna be almost interest only, okay? So if you're only paying 3 to 5 years of this loan, this 30-year loan, this mortgage, this VA loan, this whatever you have, it's gonna be interest only. And so why own, if you're gonna move within 3 to 5 years, why own the property? Why not rent your primary property so that you could free up 20% of your cash to go reinvest it and buy multiple pieces of real estate? Multiple pieces of real estate they're gonna pay you, not the one you're gonna live in and have to pay for. That's the mindset shift. So now we're gonna move right over to rental. What's the pros and the cons versus rentals? Because that we just talked about a massive pro. So a massive pro is, I want you to learn this. Let's say our payment on buying is, just round numbers, 10K. This is what our monthly payment is. Our renting payment is $10,000. This is the lowest that the payment's gonna be because you're gonna have all these things down here. This is the highest that your payment's gonna be because the person that owns the property is going to pay for everything else, right? So you have $10,000, that's what your rent is. Everything else is paid for by the landlord. So that's just a good example, okay? This is the highest that the payment's gonna be, and then this is the lowest that the payment will ever be if you don't have to have any maintenance, any repairs, any insurance, any taxes, blah, 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 blah. You get it. So one of the pros to renting is peace of mind, I would give you that. Freedom of movement, what's that worth? If you have to get out of it, like I said, in a bad economy, what's that worth? Frees up cash. Now you could say, well, you're not putting money down on a payment. Well, we went over that. If you're not gonna live in it, if you're gonna sell it within 3 to 5 years, you might as well rent anyway. Okay, well, here's a scenario, and you guys can throw this at me, is you could say, well, in 3 to 5 years, if I sell it, or if I have the property, then I can keep it as a rental, right? You're talking about, I'm gonna keep it as a rental, Austin. I accumulated these properties. Maybe I was in the military. Maybe I move a lot. Maybe I'm in oil and gas, whatever. But just remember this, you still have 20% of your own money stuck into the deal. What could you have done with the 20%? I can teach you right now that you don't have to have 20% in any real estate deal because it's just what you know. That's the only way you know how to buy real estate. You could have taken this 20% of the 600,000 and multiplied that way more ROI over 3 to 5 freaking years buying real estate. Yeah, so the big caveat that you guys are learning right now is because it's really simple. Let's frame this right now. It's what you do with that money. It's how you know how to use money, your financial education. This is the W-2 stuck in a fixed income. I have to pay for my home. I don't have any other knowledge to go make more money. I don't know what to do with my money. So I buy a house and I lock in and I'm scared shitless of the majority of my life to do anything. And it's my final home and I'm emotional about it, okay? That's fine. That's an old school way of thinking. And if that's where you're at, I'm not hacking on you. I'm just trying to shed light on the opposite. This is the flexibility. I know what to do with my money. I want to allocate my funds. I'm really in a growth stage. I want to take the majority of my cash and reinvest it in my business. I want to take the majority of my cash. I want to reinvest it in real estate assets, other assets. I can take my 200,000 or my 20% over here and I could take it and I could buy 10 houses and I could sell those. I could do something with those. I could flip those. I could do so many things to multiply that into 200,000 or 20% into 500 and then to $1 million and then to 1.5 million and then to 2 million. You can move that money and make money with that money, okay? Renting, con, money goes away, right? You're paying a tenant or you're paying a landlord, money goes away. Got it. That's a downfall, right? That's a downfall. But it depends on where you're at and you guys have to make that decision. This is my whole 2 cents on it. I've told you a good reason to do this. I've told you a reason not to do this. I've told you a good reason to do this. And I've told you there are the reasons why you may not want to do this, right? It's gonna depend. It would be pointless if you're gonna live here for 10 years and you know it, and you love the place, and you're emotionally involved in it, and your wife just has to have a place and she has to design it, and it's just for the kids, and you wanna have the memories and all of these things, this white picket fence American dream, then you probably don't wanna rent. And a lot of people have a bad conception about renting. Another thing I'll throw out there before I close this video out is it's gonna depend on where you're at. I'm from Oklahoma originally, and when you rent a property in Oklahoma, there's not a lot of nice property for rent. You have to buy a lot of times in order to get a higher level home. If you want a 4,500 square foot, 5,000 plus home, you're gonna have to typically buy it because it's much more affordable when it comes to the United States. Out here in California, renting properties is way more common, right? And typically in California right here, I'll tell you, the payment on renting a property out here is actually lower than what it would cost you in today's interest rates. So you could rent a $5 million house for $20,000 when the payment in this market may be $40,000, just for an example. So it wouldn't make sense. You would stick all of the down payment into the property, have to make this massive house payment. You have zero flexibility. You're gridlocked. You don't know what to do. The house probably can't sell that fast because it's a mansion, So it's gridlocked. Different way of thinking. This side over here is going to say, oh, well, I own the home. I'm going to be here for a while. I have a fixed income. It's just going to depend on where you guys are at in life. So is there a right way? Is there a wrong way? No. It's going to depend on you. It's going to depend on how you make your money. It's going to depend on what you guys as a family want to do. But here's the pros and cons versus renting versus owning. If you guys like this video, please comment below, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. And also, if you want to learn about real estate, if you want to take some of that money that you're thinking about putting in your house and you want to allocate that to growing your wealth and making more money, click in the bio right here. You guys are going to get hit up right here in the link in the bio or the number in this video. If you guys have already seen an ad in this video, hit that number up. Me or one of my team members is going to contact you. Thanks for watching.